So we are back today and we're covering huge changes to the gold making community that are going to be coming this Tuesday with reset for 927. These changes are really big and you need to know what you can expect to take advantage of these things and not be left behind. The auction house is becoming region-wide for all commodities, and the auction house is returning to the old WoW companion app at the same time. So let's get into some specifics, what items could be affected, how you should take advantage of the changes, and what exactly is returning to the companion app. So let's dive right into this. So first, let's go over the changes to the auction house coming with 927. The auction house is moving from server-specific listings for commodities to region-wide. This means that items that are considered commodities like cloth, gems, ore, herbs, flasks, enchants, a lot of different things, will have a huge surge in competition. The gross amount of items listed that will be available is going to be staggering, to say the least. Let's just take one example and use linen cloth. So on my home server of Bleeding Hollow, we have an average of around 12 to 15k linen cloth available on the market. And then when these changes happen, we can click here and see that the NA has over 700,000 listed currently. That is going to be a 50 times increase on the amount of materials in just one market. So let's talk about the obvious pros and cons to this system. So let's cover the pros first. So first, you're going to have a large amount of materials for mass buying and stockpiling for shuffles and crafting. Next, we're also going to have the prices for the materials, and they're going to dramatically drop because supply and demand, obviously. Now, I do understand that theoretically this is going to stay the same because the increase in demand stays the same because you're going to also have the increase in demand of buyers. But during the first couple of months, while filling out the changes, these markets are going to be extremely volatile. And I would highly recommend not trying to buy and flip any of these commodities during this time unless you're buying to actually use them for crafting or shuffles. And number 3, since they are only doing commodities and not crafted armor and weapons, these crafted costs for those items are going to decrease dramatically, meaning that you can expect to have much better profits on your crafted items. So let's talk a little bit about the cons. So we have 2 of them. The first one being that farming materials is going to take a massive hit for the gold per hour. However, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't be farming these materials. These markets are going to stabilize, and eventually when they do, you're going to have exponential growth in the sell rate because your items are going to be pushed out to 50 or more times the people. And number 2, the crafted consumables, especially the ones for Shadowlands, are going to become extremely tight in the market. The profit for these items over the next couple of months is going to be very, very close to the crafting cost while these markets stabilize. And these are just some of the bigger points. So let's spend some time discussing each of these. So with stockpiling, so this is about to get a lot easier, and you should really take advantage of this while the markets are stabilizing. I'd say the best time for this is going to be roughly the first month after 927 launch. You're going to need to watch your markets for materials and buy them as cheap as you can. Harder to farm old materials like fellcloth, primals, volatiles, naga scales, jamunger scales, all those. These items are going to be a large focus for your stockpiling, especially if you're a crafter. And you can use these items to post crafted transmog cheaper and with much higher profits. So now let's talk a little bit about the supply and demand issue. So like I said, during the first month, the supply will overwhelm the demand, so prices will drop dramatically. During this time, take advantage, buy all the mats that you need. Now also, be extremely careful if you're going to be buying mats to flip and resell. Honestly, I really suggest staying away from this kind of method during this time and only buying materials if you need them for crafting, or items specifically needed for shuffles like primals, fellcloth, cloth to bolts, whatever. And a good thing is that this change in price is going to increase the gold per hour of these shuffles dramatically as well. Now, moving on, let's talk about the hit to the gold per hour on material farms. So unfortunately, this is going to be, in a way, permanent. I don't think that any material can hold its current market value across all realms. That being said, they will eventually level out and new Dragonflight farms will still be viable. Along with harder to farm old materials or lesser known materials, these will also still be more profitable. Even with these changes, there will always be a niche farm. It's just about finding yours and monopolizing it. And finally, the crafted consumables. This is going to affect all markets, even old markets, but will have much more of an impact on Shadowlands markets. The crafted consumables for Shadowlands are going to be extremely tight on profit for the rest of the expansion. This means that it's going to be more important than ever for you to get some great deals when 927 comes along and try to get the cost of your materials down so that you can still make decent profit on those items. Just take all of this into consideration and prepare the best that you can for the changes coming along. Also, if you have any specific questions, comment down below and ask. So moving on from the actual auction house changes, let's talk a little bit about the WoW companion app update that's coming in 927. So honestly, this is big news on the front with Blizzard and is finally bringing back the auction house to the WoW app. We used to have this back in Legion, but it was taken away because people were abusing it for botting and duping items. So this is how they're bringing it back and what you're going to be able to do. So you're going to be able to browse current auctions, bid and buy out auctions, search for auctions, add and remove items from your favorites list, and also cancel listed auctions. Just the basic functions of the AH without being able to list any items. Honestly, I love that they're bringing this back as a feature. And especially with the AH changes, this is going to make the mobile app extremely powerful. Make sure that you're using this when patch drops to snag cheap prices on materials when away from the computer. I am going to have a follow-up video that's going to talk about optimizing your use of the app coming soon after patch launch, so make sure that you watch out for that. And that is it for this update, guys. The changes to the auction house are going to be a roller coaster the first couple of weeks, even to months after this change, and the markets will be extremely volatile. Keep a level head, watch for deals you know are good, and buy responsibly. Thank you all for the support. Make sure that you comment, like, and subscribe down below. Join the Discord, and if you're interested in more exclusive content, help support the channel by becoming a channel member or supporting me on Patreon. And I will see you all in the next video.